and all-around tech guy extraordinaire, Anthony Pritchard.
Thanks, Christopher. Really appreciate you carrying the torch as the BHS president for the last several years. I've had the honor of being the meeting planner for the last 6 years and inviting some of the best speakers in and around Colorado to come and share with us personal and professional development topics. Today is no different, and our guest speaker is Margaret Watts Romney, who is the founder of the Speakership Club, a leadership speakers coaching group that transforms young workers into well-spoken professionals and seasoned professionals into inspiring leaders on stage or on screen. In groups or in conversations, a 20-plus year presenter, performer, and speaker, she's known for coaching over 100 TEDx speakers internationally. Her motto is, "Speakership is leadership." So will you please help me in welcoming our presenter today, Margaret. Welcome to BHS.
Thank you. So delighted to be here. Wow. I'm so happy to hear you guys can meet in person again next week. There's what a sense of relief and joyous coming together again. I'm really, excited for you, excited for us all. Well, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen. I've got some ideas set out on a deck, and we will go from there. And hold on. There it is. There we go. Come on. This is it. So one note about me as we are spending time together today is that I am not afraid of silence. I'm not afraid of spaces and quiet. And what I want to do is make sure that there is time for you to think and answer. I've got some questions all along the way because really we learn the best when we examine our own lives, when we come up with our own answers, when we are thinking and sharing together. So just to give you a heads up, don't be alarmed. I'm going to ask a question and then I'm going to stop talking. And I want to give you time to think and answer. And with a group this size, the way that we'll do that is if you can comment in the chat. It gets a little confusing who's on mute, who's on mic, who's speaking, or we're speaking over each other. So I've done this many times and had it work successfully. I trust it will with this group too, that when it's our discussion time, we can shift to the chat and and answer and share and inspire each other there. So I want to start off with a story. This was about a little less than 10 years ago. I had a phone call to make. I had a big conversation to have, and I was shaking in my boots, cold sweat down the back of my neck, a pit in my stomach. I was not happy and not ready for this. I didn't know quite how to get ready. It was the first time I was going to be working with public speakers. It was TEDx Salt Lake City, and my job was to reach out and contact 14 different speakers to see what they needed, where they were, what was next, how we could serve them. And I was really, really anxious. These people were CEOs. These people were already traveling speaking circuits. One of them had been on Shark Tank and gotten a deal with Mark Cuban. Like, who was I? Who did I think I was going in there and offering something, speaking with them? I just felt so unprepared and so unready for it. And as we go through today, I'll kind of tell you more about this scenario and what happened and tools that I wish that I had and tools that I actually did employ to get through this with grace and strength and ease. And so what I want to do today is let you know that, like it was mentioned, my motto is speakership is leadership. And what I mean by this is when you speak, you are leading whether you're ready or not. If you are in a conversation or giving a presentation or pitching and you are coming into that with anxiety and unsureness and retreating into yourself, that is where you're going to lead your listeners. Because when we speak, we lead, ready or not. So here's a chance, and what we're going to be talking about is how to get ready. Because you have a community. Hearing a little bit about what all of you do, you all have people to serve. You all have things to give. You all have transformation and connection and ease and solutions to give your community. And they are waiting for you. They need the solutions that you have, and they're waiting for you. So what we're going to do today is go through 3 different areas for getting ready for these critical conversations. We're going to talk first about your mind, what to do kind of long before a conversation, how to work with your emotions, and then how to physically work with your body. And then we'll give you, there's a kind of like a bonus at the end of some tricks to do when you're in the middle of a conversation that's high intensity, high stakes, how to navigate that. So let's first of all talk about your mind. In the first place, I want to focus our attention is on our values. And with your community, I am imagining that many of you are pretty clear, might be clear on what it is that's important to you, what it is that are guiding forces in your life. Values are interesting, like looking at this list of them. I want all of them. I want progress and quality. I want integrity. I want to have accountability. But really, if we're going to find the values that really guide us, we need to kind of focus it down to just 2 or 3, and that we come back to over and over and over again. For me, those 3 values are wisdom and generosity and joy. And I want to hear from you in a second about yours. But the second thing to do as we're preparing for a high stakes critical conversation is really put a picture in your mind of what you want the end to be like. What do you want to feel? What do you want your listeners to think? What do you want them to do? Getting really clear on where you're aiming by the end. I want to tell you a story about this. So about a year ago, I was in a meeting where I was going to be doing some training for a software organization. And it was going to be a many months long engagement. It was, potential for lots more future work, but it was high stakes, especially high stakes for me, not just because of the business transaction, but because I was really an outsider. I was the only female in the room. Everybody else knew each other and had known each other for years. Everyone else was very well spoken in the world of technology, and I wasn't. But I was going into this about to say, here I am, here's what I can do for you, here's my pitch, here's my offering, here's my invitation. And what I wanted to do, so before I went into this meeting, I thought about the end. I thought about what are the things that I want to feel by the end. And I realized I had 3 words. I wanted to have connection with the people, I wanted to feel calm, and I wanted to portray my competence. Those 3 words all along. And there was a moment in the middle of the meeting. It was a Zoom meeting like this because it was summer of 2020. It was a deck similar to this one. I was kind of going along, explaining my thing on my presentation I'd prepared. And in the middle of it, the main person who was the main decision maker said, stop, 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 stop. Hold on, hold on, hold on. And part of me went like, oh, what are we? Okay. And I quickly thought, but Margaret, here you go. How can you be still in line with your 3 goals? Do we still have connection? Yeah, I'm there. I'm with you. Yeah. Can you stay calm? Absolutely. And can you come across as competent? Can you feel into your competence? And so instead of like being rattled and being stressed about getting back to my presentation, I went with the flow of it. And I said, absolutely, whatever questions you've got, how can I answer? And we went on a different tangent and he asked some great questions. And we learned some new things about each other, and I felt great by the end because I was able to deal with that surprise in the middle because I knew what I wanted to feel by the end. And I was able to kind of let go other things I had attachments to. I was able to let go of staying exactly with my deck, exactly with my presentation, and I felt more flow because I had this bigger picture of staying in connection, feeling calm, and showing and exposing my competence in the area. So now is the time for you. This is where I'm going to ask a question. I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. What are some of your guiding words? When you're in a high stakes conversation, you can imagine one that you've had or one that you have coming up. What are some of the words that describe what you want, who you want to be, what's the mood and the culture that you want to bring into that conversation? Go ahead and put it in the chat and I will read them aloud as they come in. Nice. Kevin, you're focused on them. What do you want them to take away at the end? You want to be articulate. You want to have confidence. You want to feel that presence. You want to feel that authenticity. You want to make sure you are standing in your authentic place. Clarity, integrity, honesty, unity, connection. Beautiful. Empathy, grace, kindness. I love it. Thank you for these. I'm going to turn back to the deck, but if you have other words you want to share, feel free. So we've talked about how to get prepared in your own mind, getting centered on your values, getting centered on the words you want. But let's talk about emotions for a minute. Because sometimes in high stakes conversations, this is what comes up. And so what I'm going to share with you are some ideas from my coaching training with the Neuro Leadership Institute, where all of the training around leadership and coaching is based on brain-based research and science. So there's a fascinating thing that happens within our brain when we name our emotions. Inside of our brain, we have a center, there's sort of an emotional center of our brain. If you take your hand and put your thumb over the middle and your fingers down the top, it makes a little rough model of your own brain. And this part in the middle, there's some centers in there called the amygdala, and the nickname is the mammalian part of our brain. There's a lot of emotions going on there, but then there's a part of your brain that makes us human. It's called the prefrontal cortex. It's right here, and it is our executive function. It's our planning. It's our creativity. It's our forward thinking and making connections to things in the past. It's really what makes us human. And when we say the word of what an emotion is that we're feeling, the studies show that we shift where our brain is active. It shifts from being in more the emotional reactive center to more of the forward thinking, the prefrontal cortex center of our brain. So just by naming the emotions, it can be a great tool to understanding, to feeling some distance, to calming yourself down. So here's a tool that I will post in. I know there's the Facebook link to this event. I can post this there afterwards. You've probably seen these before. This is one of my clients made up and created. And just being able to see and name the emotions you're feeling can have a great effect to help you sort of rally and feel more logical and about what you're feeling. So a story around this. So I run a number of sort of leadership communication circles and mastermind groups. And one of my clients in this, she has an ongoing meeting with some colleagues where they're making big decisions about future directions. And of course, like everyone over the past year, there's been a huge number of changes in this, but there's one little pattern in the group that she gets stuck. And there's one member of the group who ends up needing to talk a lot about the things that are going wrong. Things like, oh, and this isn't working and this isn't working. And she kind of gets caught in this cycle of over and over and over, and kind of the image in my mind is like she's scratching the same cycles, the same path in her brain over and over, and trying to get this member out of that place and back on track, thinking about the meeting. This woman in my mastermind group, she used this tool, and in the middle of the feeling it going off track and having this woman go down the same tunnel of sort of obsessing and thinking over and over, then the woman said, what are you feeling right now? And asked the woman to like name exactly what was going on with her. And the woman said, I am scared, I'm frustrated, and I don't know where to go. But she could see that in naming those, there was a calmness that came over her. And having that, sharing that emotion, sharing that word, having it be reflected back to her, having it be held by the other person and seen, then the whole mood came down, and the woman who's in my groups could reflect that back to her. Yeah, I can see that. And she was able to kind of then get it back on track and say her own piece about, we're here to do this and this and this. Is it okay with you if we focus back on this? And kind of went back to her words of what she wanted to accomplish. What do we want to do? Where are we going in this? And so by using the words of emotions, she was able to kind of retrain. And likewise, we can do this with ourselves. There's a really powerful tool that has been around for a while, but they're just understanding recently the science behind it. And that is talking about yourself in the third person. And there's something about getting that distance. Margaret Watts Romney will do this. She is going to do this. She is going to feel this. That helps us step into that a little bit more clearly. So there's an exercise that you can execute where you talk about yourself. And talk to yourself about yourself. So for instance, before the high stakes meeting I had that I told you about, I could have gone through this mantra for myself. Margaret has been calm. Margaret is now calm. And Margaret will be calm. There's a number of tools and tricks in there that then help your brain to step into that in a more clear, more solid, more grounded, more authentic way, because you feel it more completely through yourself. So I want to hear from you guys. What are the emotions you would want to feel? How would you create this sentence for your own self-talk? Kevin wants to be engaged and confident. Allison wants confidence. Connected, peaceful. Anthony, thank you. It really does help to eliminate fear. Under control. Nikki wants to feel resolved. That word resolved has a few different facets, doesn't it? Like there's a I am resolved, like being grounded, and then also like that being complete. There's something that's unsettled and then it's resolved. April wants to feel energized. Donna, calm and confidence. Thank you all for sharing. There's a real depth here I'm seeing. Excited. Just be yourself and trust. Peaceful. Thank you all so much. I feel like I'm seeing a picture into all of your lives. Confidence, grateful, excited. Thank you all. I'm going to shift back to the deck. If there are other things you want to add, feel free. So let's move on to your body. We've talked about your mind getting ready beforehand, getting settled with your emotions, and here's some things with your body for these really high stakes and critical conversations. First thing to know is when there's something really important on the line, your body will have sensations. This is something that I see so frequently with my speakers and with past TEDx speakers and the leaders in my groups now. They're like, oh, I can't, I'm terrible at that. I just feel nervous. I get so sweaty palmed and I'm terrible at it. Your body is going to feel things. You will, before you get ready, your body does go through kind of a heightened state. So there was Simon Sinek had a question about this. If we have any control and how we manage this heightened state before a performance or before competing. And he went and spoke with a bunch of different athletes, and each one he asked them, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And every single one replied, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. And they had learned how to reinterpret the signals inside their own body of the heart going a little faster, the tingling in their fingers, the kind of like the butterflies or maybe snakes in their stomach. They learned to interpret that as excited. They had made a choice and they had trained that choice into them, that it wasn't, oh, I'm anxious and I'm feeling terrible. It was, I'm excited. I'm excited. They knew their bodies were preparing. One other example of this, a few years ago at TEDx Boulder, I was standing backstage, and one of the speakers there, she had never spoken in public before. She was getting mic'd up. She was about to go out on stage for her first speech ever. She was very prepared. She'd been working with us for months on this, but she'd never done this before. And I walked backstage and she was kind of breathing funny and she was kind of wiggling in an odd way. And I was like, Laura, how are you doing? What's going on? She said, oh, I'm great. My body is just getting ready to be awesome. I said, yes, that is it. That is what your body does. It gets ready to be awesome. And she also knew how this is what's going to go on before putting myself out there, before being vulnerable, before asking for something, telling something, inviting somebody to something. Your body will go through sensations because it's getting you ready to be awesome. And if this is something that you are struggling with or you're inquisitive about, another link that I'm going to send, actually I can put it in the chat right now, is I have a speakership quiz that kind of helps you to see and understand where you are in this realm. What skills do you have? What skills do you need next? And yeah, where are you with it? So there's a gift for you to kind of get a measure of your own speakership. And especially one of the areas it focuses on is this preparation. All right, let's move on. So I want to hear from you. What is this? There's many different ways this can show up in your body. What is this anticipation, this getting ready, this You can call it nervous anxiety, or you can call it your body getting ready to be awesome. What does this feel like in your body?
Margaret, the good feeling or the not so good one? The
I'm
challenging emotion or the helpful one?
I'm so glad you're asking. And those words of good or not so good are our interpretation of it. I want to hear what the physical sensation is. I feel heat in my scalp. I feel numb in my fingers. I feel my feet feel like running. Like, let's take away the judgment of good or bad if possible, and just tell me what's going on physically in your body. Great question. Thank you, Kevin. This is the part I warned you about, where I'm not afraid of silences. I love the thinking faces I'm seeing. Oh, it didn't show me your head. You have pacing heart, butterflies in my stomach, restlessness, more butterflies, heightened awareness, confusion, anxious, mind racing, tingling in your stomach. Does anyone feel a temperature shift? Yes, there we go. Cold and shaky. Restlessness. Too much energy, like it's all pent up and it needs to go somewhere. Hot, shaking, warm, embarrassment. Yeah, sometimes there's that flush to the cheeks, flush. Some people feel it on their neck. Intensity, nervousness for the first minute or two. David, that's nicely aware of you. That's frequently it's that first minute or two that's the most intense. Actually, it's all the time that it's the first 90 seconds that's really there before you can relax into something. For all of our TEDx speakers, we encourage everybody to absolutely memorize your first 90 seconds. Forgetting to breathe. Yes, getting those deeper things. Beautiful. This goes in, you guys are right there. You're feeling it. You're in the moment there. Let's talk about what to do with these and how to move them through. So what we're looking for in our body really is a balance. We've got sort of two different systems regulating our nervousness, and that is we call it the fight or flight system, or the rest and digest system. The technical words for them are the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the parts of your body that like yanks your hand away when something is hot, is the part that gets you jump, is the part the fight or flight. That is what is getting you revved up. You are ready to go out there and fight battle. You're ready to go out there and run away if things are really, really, really terrible. And you've probably heard that these systems in our brain were super, super useful. They kept us alive for, tens of thousands of years. And now they're just a little overactive. We're not actually fighting bears. We're not actually having to run for our lives. But those systems are still just as sensitive. And now they've been shifted into being sensitive and aware in social situations. That's a whole topic right there, is how to talk about navigating and dealing with all the different ways that socially we can trigger each other and how to avoid that. I'll save that for another day. But this, since a lot of you talked about this shaking or a heat or feeling like you needed to move, that's exactly this system, this this sympathetic fight or flight, getting you ready to be awesome, getting you ready to perform your best. The Olympic athletes were feeling all of that so that they could go shoot out of the gate, so they could give their best performance. But that can feel out of control. It doesn't feel so great when you're like, I don't know what my hands are doing. They're just moving like this a lot. And so what we want to find is a balance. We want to also activate our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest. We don't want to fully sink into that because nobody really is that interested in talking to someone who's like curled up like a marshmallow on the couch with all the blankets and ice cream and watching a movie. That's not, really sinking into that isn't that attractive either. So we want to find a balance of the two. We want to feel like our fight or flight is enough under control that we can move forward and still have access and not too leaned into our rest and digest parasympathetic. So the tools for these, you've all used them before. We've used them today already, but now I'm hopefully giving you a little of the science behind them. The most important and the first is the breath. When we breathe, our inhale slightly stimulates the fight or flight system. When we exhale, it slightly stimulates the rest and digest system. So going through those deep breathing exercises does work on like a physiological and neurological level. You are bringing yourself back into balance by taking those deep breaths. And if you wanted to take it a step further, this is an exercise that is used by the Navy SEALs. Inhaling, holding it, exhaling and holding it. They call it box breathing. And it's not enough just to know it works. You physically have to do it with your body. So let's jump in together and do a few rounds of box breathing. I'm going to count to 4 for an inhale, hold for 4 at the top, exhale for 4, and then hold 4. And I'm going to sound really weird because I'm going to be breathing while I'm talking, but that's okay. Let's do this together. So let's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3. One more round. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. I can see a number of your faces and there's a shift. I'm curious if you're feeling something different. Let me know in the chat if you've noticed a change. Oh, you guys are awesome. The fainting goat. Yes. Hopefully none of us are the fainting goat. Beautiful. And here we are feeling grounded and centered, calm. I'm seeing shifts on your faces and in your shoulders too. Beautiful. I'm going to keep going. So you have the tool of the breath, simple. The next one is to move. My favorite thing is to shake. A lot of you talked about feeling that pent up energy, feeling the nervous, feeling the butterflies in your stomach. One of the sign that is adrenaline. The adrenaline is the hormone in our body that helps us to shoot out of the gate fastest, that helps us prepare to move really, really quickly. If we want to get that balance, moving is the thing that helps that move through our system more. So I want us to all do this together. I want everybody shake your arms. Yep, there we go. Shake your arms. There you go. As you can, shake your torso, shake your legs. And then my favorite thing, Dee Dee's already there, moving your head and your shoulders. That's it. Excellent. Beautiful. And by moving it out, it helps to diffuse and dispel that adrenaline a little bit. And just a note, it's my favorite thing to shake your head and shoulders, because there's something, again, that communicates to our nervous system, we're okay, everything's fine. When my eyes are super focused, as unfortunately most of the days our eyes are on driving and work and computer, there's a little signal we're giving to our brain of I'm about to hunt or I am being hunted. And when we shake, like, oh no, this is a dance party after everything's done. Like, everybody's fine, everything's great. So those two little exercises and knowing how and why they work, the box breathing and shaking, can go really, really far. And then what happens is I want you to look around at each other's faces after shaking. There is a calmness, and then we feel that too. In our brains, we have something called mirror neurons. And when we see someone else behaving or feeling or acting in a certain way, it has our brain light up in those patterns too. So when we show up in our business, in our communications, in our leadership positions, and we have that calm, grounded energy, then our audience, our listeners, our community, there's some part of their brain that lights up in that same way too. Beautiful. Before we go into my last bonus section of things to do when you're in the middle of a tight conversation, I want to pause for a second and give you a chance to do some Q&A. And let's do, for this one, the way let's organize this, instead of typing things into the chat, I think I can see most of you. Kevin, you might be able to see more people than I do, but go ahead and take yourself off of mute and put yourself on camera if you have a specific question. Oh, actually, I think I can see you. I see David.
Well, I didn't know I was going to give
Oh,
the first question. It's okay. I think in all of this stuff is just to be able to be who you are and stop overthinking it all the time. We always analyze, we have all this fear. And, you know, the older I got, hey, you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You know, can you always do better? You bet. Is there always somebody better than you? Yes. But was I the best I could be at that particular moment? Doesn't mean I can't do better in the future, but that's all you can do, because what we do is we beat ourselves up mercilessly. Oh, I wasn't good enough, or this other person did this and I should have done that, you know? Doesn't do you any good.
No, I'm not getting hooked into that outcome. Excellent. And so, well, the way we'll organize this is if you take yourself off mute, I know, and you could like physically raise your hand.
Hey, Margaret, if you stop screen share, we'll be able to see everyone easy.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. What a
There
great
we
idea.
go.
Ta-da. All right. Anthony. Michael, I see you took yourself off mute too. We'll go next. Anthony.
Yeah, Margaret, I loved your breathing exercise and your explanation of the brain and the emotions. And I help business owners come on camera for the first time quite a bit. Is there a good practice that you have heard of or that you practice yourself for people who are about to, you know, use the camera to project their message to the rest of the world in such a big way? Sometimes I see them get this nervousness, this fight or flight physical motion, and I'd love to have a good answer for them in that moment.
Yeah. I have a short answer now, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I can't remember if I've created it into a mini course or if it's just a video of a training session I did exactly on this. I call it my 3-2-1 method and it works both for stage or the screen. And it's some of these, it incorporates breathing, it incorporates shaking, but then there's a few other tools in there too that have that work really well in getting people in both a state of mind and physically ready and understanding why that and how that presence is important and how to, you know, ground themselves more. So so I will put that also, and where, like I've mentioned a few things I'll send to you guys, the motion wheel, and I'll send you a link and access to this training I did. Where's the best place for that? I know I have access to the Facebook group. Is that best, or Anthony, would there be a better place for me?
Well, that's probably the best immediate place is that Facebook group, I think.
Okay, I'll send it. I'll put things there.
You can put it in chat too, Margaret.
Then I'd have to go search for it, and I wasn't. I wanted, like, it's a spontaneous question now, so I wasn't prepared with that. So I
Got
will
it.
put it in there later. So good thinking, though.
Margaret, we'd love to have you at our in-person meeting July 1 too. You could
I
bring
would
stuff there.
too. I will be out of town in I will be out of town for July and some of August, but I would love to join you after I get back. That would be really delightful. So, um, so Anthony, it's sort of a to be continued.
Yeah.
Those resources.
Great.
Mike.
Yeah, so I used to do before the pandemic large event services, and that feeling that you get before you're about to perform in a certain way, it's the same feeling, but can you change your perspective on it is my question. And the reason I say that is because, 12 years ago, I would be, maybe upset or excited or jittery and things like that. But when I get that feeling now in a large show, it's almost calming and it's almost state ready. And I'm wondering how to get that result faster.
Nice. Good question. And it sounds like, and first of all, congratulations on making that shift yourself. And the one tool that so I was working with a client and she had this exact problem. She was an entrepreneur. She had to pitch in front of investors, and she would often, she would often like just have to go throw up before she did, like the most extreme set of nerves. And what we worked together on, we gave her a number of like physical things to dispel that tension. But what we also did is we got her really focused on her why. We got her super like, why are you on this stage? What do you want? What change do you want to make in the world? Who do you want to be? What is the gift that you have to offer that it makes it worth it? And when she got really focused on that, on her bigger purpose, why she had spent $100,000 and so many hours, hundreds, thousands of hours on this product, what it was going to bring to families, what it was going to bring to, it was a multi-generation family history connecting device. And when she got focused on that, then she flew to Boston, she pitched, she called me afterwards, and she's like, Margaret, that was the best pitch I've ever given. And it wasn't focused on herself. She was focused on what she was giving, what she was doing. So that's the quickest one I know. I have a few other gems to give you, but I also want to make sure we answer. Renee, I saw that you had yourself off of, yeah.
Sorry, I get very emotional. I can't seem to get out of it. I keep trying to talk to myself. I do everything that everybody says, but I can't not get emotional.
Yeah.
And it just seems to get worse rather than better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any hints?
First of all, like, thank you. I mean, part of what I'm seeing here is, it also is a gift. Like, I'm being able to see you, having you share yourself, having that connection right there. There's a few ways of looking at it, and how I just feel like honored in this moment to see this part of you. And I think there's a lot of, it sounds like this is a very entrenched, this is a deep pattern, a deep, deep habit. And so there isn't something I can say in 30 seconds that will flip that switch for you. Brains are deeper than that. But what I have seen with my TEDx speakers, especially who are telling their really, really deep stories, who know they're going to cry, who know it's going to be emotional, is let it be. Like, it's okay, and we need to see that part too. And letting them be comfortable in it, so that they're not fighting it, they're not feeling shame about it, is one way, and to help them be in it. So we could go on, and I'll also I'll put in the chat over in the Facebook group a link for all of you. I'd love to connect with you more, a calendar link for me for 30 minutes to get to know you a little bit more and see what's on your on your speakership plate. So I'll offer that and we can dig in a little bit more.
Renee, I put a little exercise in the chat box. It's very similar to what Margaret just said about allowing the emotional energy to just flow. It's called non-personal awareness, and you can Google that if you'd like.
Beautiful. And April, I see you took yourself off of mute. I also want to be mindful of time. There's 6 minutes left. I do have to hop off at 9. So I'll give you the link and let's say to be continued to reach my calendar. Okay, beautiful. I am going to go back into share mode because there's one more gem that I want to share with you guys about all of this. Where did my screen go? Oh, it went to a different place. Okay, I'm not going to take time messing with the slides. I'm just going to give it to you straight. So the one last tool I want to give you is when there's that moment in the middle of a crucial conversation and something's going off, it's going a little sideways, this isn't what you expected, or things are getting somehow in a snarl. And there's two tools, two ways to move forward. And this is from the book Crucial Conversations, and it also has a lot of backup within from a lot of other places too. But that is reestablishing reestablishing the common ground. I just want to reiterate, so like this might look like, I just want to reiterate, this is why we're here. I just want to make sure I understand where you are. I want to make sure, like, this is what's going on. I just want to go back to the beginning. This is why we gathered here today. I understand this is your world going back to the beginning. This is what I'm hoping for today. This is what I'm wanting to avoid today, like reestablishing that, and then reestablishing a shared purpose. What are we wanting to do together by the end? Getting those 2 anchor points. Here's our shared reality, and here's our shared purpose together. And once you have those 2 anchor points, what people frequently end up having conflict about is how to get there. And if you both agree, hey, here's where we want to get to, we both know this is what we want to create in the world, then it becomes a little bit easier to know how to get there. Okay, I don't care if we take path X or Q, we just want to make sure that we get there. And so that's one tool to use to kind of when things are in a knot. And this is why I told you a story in the beginning when I first talked with my TEDx speakers for the first time. And I wish I'd had that tool of establishing the shared reality. Like, wow, we're here in a big place. You're about to do one of the biggest talks of your life. And here's what we know and here's what we don't know. What I did do along the way with them is I did know what I wanted it to look like. I did know what success looked like. I'd been in performance, in stage. I was a cellist. I'd been doing that for 20 years. I knew what a great presentation on a stage looked like and felt like. And I was able to work with them to take, okay, here's the next step. Here's the next step. If this is your idea worth spreading, if this is what it feels like to be triumphant on the stage, here's what we need to do to get there. So, right. So I just want to leave you with those last 2 thoughts to reconnect, to get moving forward on the purpose, make sure everybody understands the common ground and where you're going into the future. And yeah, that's what we've got. I want to thank you all. What a beautiful session we've had together. And I love the mindfulness and the depth, and I'm excited to, continue this relationship with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
My pleasure. So, Kevin, I'm going to turn everything back over to you.
Thanks, Margaret. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm gonna put something in the chat box. It's a link to Catalyst Shift Mastermind. Both Margaret and I are facilitators there. There are masterminds on speaking, meditation, relationships, small business,
Money.
holistic marketing, money matters. So, and you can get that mastermind group for a month for free. You don't need a credit card. And so you can come and see Margaret and I all the time. And we would love to have you join the community. It's a very conscious and connected community. So thanks for being here today, Margaret.
You're so welcome. Like I said, I've got to hop off. I will, in a few hours, put all of those links back at the Facebook event. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with all of you. All right. We'll see ya.
Bye, Margaret. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Anthony, I'm going to take off our YouTube post, our